Welcome to Beyond the Bio, the series where we dive into the backgrounds and biographies of the new additions to Arizona football's coaching staff. And today we have our new tight end coach, Josh Miller, joining us. Welcome to the studio, Coach Miller. So first of all, I wanted to talk about your coaching experience. You have experience coaching quarterbacks, linebackers, running backs. You've even been an offensive coordinator. So when you think about working with tight ends here, what makes that unique?
Yeah, what's unique about the tight end position is that they're asked to do more than almost every other offensive position in our unit, and so they have to catch the ball, they have to be able to run block, they have to be able to pass protect. So me coaching previous positions and coordinating before allows me to speak to them a little bit more holistically and how to do their job properly. And then as it pertains to the tight ends, it's a really fascinating position because they are asked to do more, but then they're also physically supposed to be deficient in all their one-on-one matchups. So they're not supposed to be able to block a DN. They're not supposed to be able to run past the safety athletically, right? And so to be able to use the tools that they have to enhance their ability to do those things, and then to create the portfolio that I want them to have for themselves, for them to display for the country of who they are as a player and then who we are as an offense is really exciting.
Now, you were a quarterback in college.
Correct.
How would you compare your leadership style on the field to now your leadership style coaching?
Yeah, so I think it's very similar. I've always been someone that grabbed the bulls by the horns, so to speak, and naturally I think with the quarterback position, that's what you want. I will say I think my leadership style has changed from just being a coordinator or a coach that is coached an out of the box position, like the receivers, for instance, to in the core or in the box position. So I'm probably a little bit more aggressive because there's a little bit more physicality. But we're going to work extremely hard. And so at the end of the day, there is no substitute for hard work in this profession and to be successful. And so we're always going to lead by example first. And then we'll correct whatever we have to correct, but we're going to get after it.
And I saw you got your coaching start at your alma mater, St. Francis. When exactly did you know that you wanted to be a coach and go into that?
Yeah, so that was a really humbling experience. Small school guy, but it's a powerhouse. Coach Donnelly started it 25 plus years ago and has won a couple national championships that I got to be a part of. And I always tell everybody that was probably my hardest coaching job that I ever had because I went from immediately being a player to the quarterback coach. And so I went from being the mentor to some of those quarterbacks to being their coach. And we actually went, we had a quarterback controversy my first year, and we actually went from starting a senior to, transitioning to a true freshman. And so we took some lumps that first year and went 6-5, and then the next 3 years, the freshman grew up, and I think he went 39-2 in 2 national championships. So hardest experience I ever had to be a part of, just being able to, distance myself from being what was a player to a coach. But I didn't know that I wanted to do that until potentially going into my senior year. So my junior year, I suffered pretty bad ankle injury in my right foot. And so I wasn't sure if I was ever going to finish the games. And so from there, I spent a lot of time with my backup, and he and I watched film together, and we kind of tried to see the game through the same lens. So if I wasn't able to play, that, the offense would still operate accordingly. And so that's where my interest first started, but I didn't ever get into football thinking I was going to be a coach.
Wow. Do you feel like that experience has impacted you as a coach now and just relatability to players and having that experience?
Yeah, and I think, one, it's made me really appreciative. And so my family and I have worked really hard to get here, but and it's also just allowed us to just trust the Lord's plan, because I didn't foresee myself being a coach, and I didn't foresee us necessarily getting to be at this great institution, right? And so we're really grateful, but it did allow us to be a little bit more relatable. Injuries happen. situations happen, life happens. And so to be able to adapt and meet people where they're at is obviously the most important thing, especially in this profession, but usually all professions.
And that translates to the next question. Your journey here to Arizona football, you coached with Coach 𝘽𝙀𝙔𝙊 at Marshall. You guys also were together at Bowling Green. What's your working relationship with him like?
Yeah, so I always tell everybody, everybody has a lot of, quote unquote, boys in the profession. There's not many that I would risk my career for. And so we have a great friendship, but I think professionally we get each other. We see the game through a very similar cloth. We were raised a very similar way as far as, how we think, we should go about doing things, mentality. You hear Coach 𝘽𝙀𝙔𝙊 say all the time. So we believe those core principles, and it's kind of fun on game day to sit up next to each other in the box. It's like playing a video game, right? And so we kind of have a little bit of give and take, but he's awesome to work for. It's a great working relationship. And, I think Arizona should be excited from a friend perspective, right? Alluding to that I've coordinated before, brought me a lot of joy at Marshall last year to watch him grow as a coordinator. He talks about the flexibility of the offense and what we can and cannot do. Well, that also has to be understood by the coordinator. So understanding the world of which you wanted to operate may not be how you need to operate. And that's a really hard notion to comprehend. And he excelled at that last year, and he met the kids where they were at as far as their talents. And we found ways to win games that wasn't necessarily how he probably envisioned it going originally, but found ways to win due to their strengths. And so that was something I really appreciated, not only as a colleague, as a friend, was his ability to adapt, and not only adapt, but he did it in year one.
And now that you've been here just a couple weeks, what excites you most about being an Arizona Wildcat?
Well, it's an unbelievable place. I mean, you walk around this facility, it's hard not to be excited, right? And so then you get to meet the people inside the facility. They're unbelievable, and it starts with our head coach, Coach Brennan. He found out I was going to stay in a hotel, and he absolutely shut that down. It was like, you're not doing that. You're staying at my house, and so obviously we have all the tools and the resources to be successful. You have the people here that are very welcoming and accommodating. And now it's just our job as coaches to instill the culture that we want, the mentality that we see for the offense, and catch the players up to par with the scheme and things like that. But unbelievable facilities, unbelievable people. Just couldn't be more happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by today. This has been great. Thank you, Coach Miller.
Thank you for having me.